So we just did an intro for this episode. We forgot to say, don't forget to
like, subscribe.
subscribe and comment, guys. We don't get paid for these episodes, guys. We don't make no money. So
Zero.
Your likes and your comments really, like, it keeps us going, guys. It helps us fight through this depression. Without further ado, I'm going to cue the actual intro right about now. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Morning Dinner Podcast. It's your boy, Keem Chuck.
What up?
And we host the Morning Dinner Podcast.
Boom.
Based out of Las Vegas. This is how you know we ain't rappers, bro.
Yeah, we definitely ain't.
Welcome back to the Morning Dinner Podcast, everybody. You are tuning into episode 70.
80.
80? What?
No,
we're 79, bro.
100?
We just did episode 78 with
Dude,
Josh.
I'm super proud of us. That's pretty far.
Are you thinking ahead? That's for sure. We just wrapped up. Oops. We just did episode 79 with Leslie Gomez. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to give you guys an elevator pitch about what she does and who she is out here.
You just said we wrapped up.
No. Leslie Gomez is a Mexican-American female filmmaker and producer in Las Vegas, having collaborated with notable production companies, agencies, as well as independent creatives and directors. Leslie produces film, television, short films, narratives, music videos, as well as live shows and events. She is also one of the co-creators of Coconutmeat Films, a content company that curates content as an artist collective. What were you showing me right now?
That was good.
What are you showing me? So this is
So it is 80.
Oh, this is 80.
80, my.
Damn, dude. So I'm living in the past, guys.
Hey, it's all good, man.
Yeah, but this episode's gonna be dope. What do you hope to learn from Leslie?
Man, I got so many questions about being a producer because it's always interested me. Interested me?
Yeah, yeah. You're right. I got a lot of questions, man.
It interested me on how do you do that? Like, what's the management and everything, and like how much money do you have to spend, and how do you have to? There's just so many things as a producer. I'm like, dude, I'd never do that.
Right.
Ever.
You know what I just thought about? We're gonna do a t-shirt giveaway, guys. T-shirt giveaway time. Wait, should we give away? Should we give away a t-shirt? Let's give away a t-shirt. Drop a comment down below and let us know if you want to win the t-shirt. No, we shouldn't do it. Let's cut that out.
Yeah,
let's cut that out. Yeah, we'll cut that out. Maybe on the next one we'll do a t-shirt giveaway.
No, we're not. All right.
Without further ado, that introduces somewhat episode 80. My bad, with Leslie Gomez.
Leslie Gomez.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen, in the goddamn refrigerator. I sure am hungry.
Do it.
We got Leslie in the house.
What up?
Hey.
What's up, Leslie?
What's up?
You got a film production company going around, right?
Something like that.
It's called Coconut Meat, because I'm looking at the sticker on your.
Yeah, on my
That
bottle.
is so tight.
Yeah, it's called Coconutmeat Films. It's pretty much a artist collective. So it's production designers, director, editor, shooters. We pretty much use like the same people.
And it's like an in-house kind of thing.
It is. Yeah,
Okay.
we pretty much work out of our homes. So
How did you? Well, I was gonna say, how did you guys come up with a name? Before we get to the name,
Yeah.
real quick, for people who are tuning into this episode right now and don't know, you tell them who you are and what you do.
Let them know.
Let them know. I'm Leslie Gomez, and I am a filmmaker. I'm predominantly a producer and director.
Producer and director.
Sometimes.
Those are two titles that Chuck and I are
I
not.
got so many questions.
So I'm going to talk about directing. I kind of know what like a director was, and I learned directing from a photographer. Because before, when I first started like filming things on myself, little music videos, I would just show up and shoot what's there. Not really like kind of like, okay, well, turn this way. Or I wouldn't care where the sun was at. It was just whatever's in front of your camera, you hit record.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get something nice.
Yeah.
Now, when you're directing, you actually like tell the talent, hey, move this way. Don't get this close to the camera. You give them a lot of direction, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel the role of being a director versus being a producer is? Like, which one do you prefer? And which one do you see yourself doing more often?
I mean, honestly, I think when you're on set, like you said, it's a lot of like whatever's happening in the moment is kind of like what you're trying to take advantage of. So whether it's, literally just getting out your camera and just whatever you see, you're shooting. I mean, there's definitely a lot of really successful directors that do that. And then there's also some that they like to take a little bit more time, even if it takes more money or, more patience. and they're like, no, I really want to do this, and
Yeah.
you know, it has to be this person, it has to be this way. So I think both ways are totally awesome. I think it just really depends on like your vision.
It depends on the project itself, right?
Yeah, 100%. It depends on like, do you have a budget? What is the story that you're like looking for? Is it just like on the street, or is it something that you have to like create
Yeah.
in-house? And then as far as like producing and directing, honestly, they both 100% come hand in hand. A lot of directors, like they want to make their own things, their own stories. So they end up producing a lot of it too. So by producing, it's like, you know, you're sourcing the location and you're sourcing the money and you're sourcing the camera and the actors and your team. So I think they both really come hand in hand.
See, I used to think that a producer was primarily someone who only like funded the project.
That is definitely possible. I mean, once you're like a producer and you're like at a certain point in your life where you're like an executive producer, you kind of just like pick and choose projects that that you believe in, and then, you know, you put your resources or your time or your money, if you have it, towards these projects, and you may or may not be the director. For me, I work predominantly as a producer and not like in a monetarily sense. I usually am like, okay, I know the people, or I find the people to like get the job done, you know? So I just kind of like work with the director, and I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? Let's do this. And we just like pitch ideas. And a lot of the time, like, you know, I'm just kind of helping them establish like their vision.
And this is way before a shoot, right? Like how far do you guys go back until you like planning? What's the planning time frame?
The planning time frame. Well, it depends on the project. I mean, a lot of the time it's like you said, it's like, oh my God, we have, we have like 2 days or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, well, are you off? Yeah, I'm off. Cool. And then it's like, oh, we have this really cool like gear that we can like use to our disposal, or like, I just found something and I'm super inspired. Let's do it. And so sometimes it's like on the weekends, you know, and then sometimes like right now it's like, well,
Sorry.
Way to go, man. You ruined the flow. We got to start the podcast all over again.
And
My chest hit the
I told you sneeze one more time.
Sorry, y'all.
Sorry, I had to take advantage of that.
And then sometimes it's like you have this goal in mind, and it's like it feels so far away.
Yeah.
You know, like you're like, oh, I know that I want to create a feature film, which is something that we're in the, you know, working on right now. We're definitely like in the baby steps. So we're just kind of like coming up with the concept and the narrative and the story, and trying to find like our resources and our people.
This is over at Coconutmeat, right?
Yes.
I love that name.
He
so
like
much.
he just wanted to say it.
And so
I gotta give you one of those stickers.
yeah.
I have a hydro
Yeah.
fries that I like
I
to
love
put.
that name so much.
I need to get more. So, and then sometimes it's like, oh, we know we want to do this massive project, but it's going to take like a year, you know, to get started. That's like a year pre-production.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes it's on the weekend. Sometimes it's, you know, in a month. You do, you know, pre-production work in like a month, you know. And sometimes it's like, for example, I have a shoot tomorrow morning, and I literally put it together like 3 days ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What kind of a shoot is it?
It's actually for this, my friend, she's part of the Coconutmeat Collective. She's a makeup artist. Her name is Caitlin Young, and it's part of her Halloween makeup series.
I feel like I've heard of her.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Caitlin
C Young Makeup.
Oh, yeah. I think I've worked with her before.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good. She's doing this like Halloween makeup series. She has like 20 different directors, and then she has like a bunch of different models and different looks. So,
Wait, 20 different directors?
yeah.
Doing what? Directing?
Yeah, directing
Really?
the like look. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
So not even like a film director, but like a set director?
Yeah, kind of just like you said, like a photo shoot
okay,
director.
Gotcha.
Kind of like
20 of them though? Damn.
Yeah, because there's 20 different looks. They're all
Yeah.
doing their own look.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought
That's
they were
kind
all,
of tight. That's like a
all
competition
20 at
kind of
once.
thing.
They just stay so.
Yeah.
Shit would be
Well, it
crazy.
is a competition, but it's also really interesting because some of the shooters are like, even though it's like the same shooter, it has like a different director, and you can like see the differences, even though it's like the same like camera guy.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you have that person collaborating with like this person, and it comes out to be like totally different
Right.
and then when they do it with this person, it's like totally different. So it is the same, but it's like also weird because it's like we're all like intermixing all the time and like seeing
It's
what
dope.
comes out.
I think just the fact that it's like Halloween time too, like it's October. We're in mid-October already. I can't believe it. But like just getting the vibes of like the spooky vibes, like makes you want to work on projects like that, you know?
For sure. Yeah, it was a really, really good idea for her to do that. It's an amazing way to like build your portfolio and to work with different people and then have like 20 different looks that you can like show off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. So how did you? Okay, now I can ask. How did you come up with the name Coconutmeat Films? Or is it films, or is it just like a kind of like a? Is it a company? Is it a film like agency? Like what?
Yeah,
how would you describe it?
LLC.
So we don't have an LLC yet.
We do. You do.
But what it is really, honestly, is like me and my best friend have been making short films since we were kids. So it's since we were like 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just kind of evolved over the process of like us just growing and like learning how to do things better. And so it is literally that. I mean, it's nothing like, it's just people playing and
people playing.
it's people playing and like being creative and coming up with like stuff that stories and like concepts and ideas and worlds that they want to create. And there's really no like, oh, it's a film production company. You know what I mean? Like we'd like to be.
It's more of a collective.
Yeah, but it's more of at the moment. It's like definitely a collective. It's a passion project. We're not like, although we work in the film industry, and that is our like day job. This one is a little bit like, it's just ours. You know, it's just like for fun and
it's creative freedom.
It's creative freedom, and we hope one day that the creative freedom is is stable enough so that we can see income coming from it. But it's not something that like we're not doing it to pursue that. We're just doing it because we're like, hey, I have this idea and no one's gonna give us the money to do our ideas right now.
They're just passion
So
projects.
yeah, I mean, that'd be cool if anybody wants to throw us some money for
I want to join a project.
Yeah.
Chuck and I have been talking about doing a short film for the longest time, but we never like, this is our biggest like downfall and our biggest like hit is
We're not producers and we're
not producers. We can direct, but it's like also we're not screenwriters. We don't know actors. We have like 2% of the production company and we don't really know anybody. So when it's time to get down to it, our freelance gets in the way. We get busy and we just don't do it. You know what I mean?
Because I think the biggest thing is just and maybe this is just me and this is me just making excuses, but I do want to have like a little bit of money when I do things.
Yeah.
And the time it takes and figure things out, like it's just like, it's too much time. And I'm like, oh, but now since I know you,
yeah.
I'm like,
no,
okay.
it's not a cheap hobby, and it's also not an easy hobby. Like everything's so expensive.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? It's like everything's like, okay, you want. Nah.
Well, if you think about just the fact that you have to pay people to be there, if they're not doing it for free, you got to pay everybody that's there, and then you're also paying for the food that a lot of people don't even think about. Water runs out.
Yeah.
People go in and out. Where are you going to go to the bathroom?
And
These are all things that you got to think about.
And if you want to be legal, you got to pay permits sometimes. And it's just
100%.
like, so out here, like, do you have to deal with that a lot? Or is it a little bit more like light out here compared to like LA?
Guerrilla filmmaking.
I heard LA is crazy.
LA's. I feel like, well, from my experience, I feel like other people have told me that it's a lot more difficult to shoot in LA than it is to shoot here. I will say that there's definitely, you can do a lot guerrilla style. Don't tell anyone I told you that.
Yeah.
I always say this is something I live by. It's better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Yes. That being said, though, there are places where you're like, like don't shoot on the Strip. Like, the casinos, they won't have it. It's not worth it.
Allegedly, I filmed my drone down the
Strip. The world is like,
allegedly.
Yeah.
Back in the day when we didn't know anything.
This was before they started disabling
there was no laws.
the DJI drones. Because now you can't take off. Like, it has a GPS.
It
built
literally
in.
doesn't.
Yeah, but back in the day, there was nothing to stop it. It was like 2014, 15.
A while back.
Yeah.
And this is no shop though.
I love that shop, but I can't even. I can't do anything with it because like I can't even do like royalty free. Like what's it called? I can't even do like a
stock footage
website because they require paperwork and there's like a lot of logos from a lot of different companies. Like I can't use anything,
No, you
other
can't.
other than just sitting on my desktop and
you're like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm proud of myself.
That's cute.
It's a beautiful shot though. Like I've even gotten allegedly shots over the Bellagio fountains and everything.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, you can steal a lot of stuff, but some stuff is like not worth it because Vegas is super small, so you don't want to like make the wrong people mad and then have them like not on your team because one day you're probably gonna run into them and probably need them.
So that's the biggest reason. Because like, could they say like delete that footage later down the road? Like, let's say you made a video and you filmed it in one of the casinos and they seen it and they're like, do they have like the right to like be like take down that video?
Yeah. They do.
Damn,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because they can sue you for like basically like their brand is on your video, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like if you didn't ask for permission. But a lot of these, like, it's crazy because I feel like people are afraid to ask too. And I actually am not afraid to ask. So I asked the Stratosphere like recently. I was like, hey, I have a shot. Your, casino's in it. It was a beautiful shot. And they were like, yeah, go ahead, use it. And I was like, cool, how much? And they're like, no, free. Just,
what?
And I was like,
so let's go back.
Well, what if you would have said?
Who'd you contact though? Like who? Like Stratosphere?
Was it just like their Twitter at Stratosphere Vegas?
No, I use LinkedIn a lot actually to like try to find people.
See? Those are those.
LinkedIn, as I get older, proves itself more and more every day.
It is great.
I've had people reach out to me that I, even for this podcast, that I never would have found if it wasn't for LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah, so it like helps me. I just like Google or like not Google. But I put in LinkedIn, I'll put like Stratosphere and then it'll show you like all their employees and I'll kind of like work my way through them. Sometimes I'm not lucky the first time around, but like they'll be like, oh, I can direct you to this person. And then I finally find them. Yeah.
Have you ever had somebody from one of the casinos like straight up walk up to you and see you filming and go, I need to see you format your card right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I have.
yeah. And you're like, yeah, okay, I'm doing it now. And then you walk away and then you don't do it.
See, that's why it's handy to have a camera that has 2 SD slots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can be like, look, I'm deleting it right now.
For sure. Format the first one, keep the second one. Yeah. Super smart. People
or you film a video. No, never mind. That's too much. I was going to say film a video of the screen deleting something. And you just play a video.
You just like, you're like, see, it's deleting.
Yeah, it's deleting. Look at the video.
So I want to talk about, I don't know if you saw the film that I sent you that she worked on, the Razzle.
So dope.
Razzle My Berries, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Or is it just Razzle?
It's called Razzle My Berries.
I want to talk about how that project got started and when your involvement in it was.
Okay.
Because we watched it and we're very, very impressed. It was a very well done film from not even just like the acting in it, but like the shooting of it, the editing, the music. Like it seems like something that would have cost at least in the low tens of thousands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one thing too, real quick, that it's not out to the public, right?
It's not out to the public because it's doing its like festival run right now.
Okay.
So it will eventually be like uploaded publicly, but
I don't want to talk too much.
Oh yeah,
about
I was gonna say,
story.
are we allowed to talk about it?
No, we can talk about it.
I was like, we got to cut that out.
No,
I really liked it.
We talk about all of it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, walk me through the process of how it came together.
Well, I think. So director is Heather Rodis. That's my best friend. I mean, the other half to my Coconutmeat. And she, we started playing around with like this story of, she knew that she wanted it to be an era piece. She knew that she wanted it to be in the 1950s. And we knew that we wanted a monster. And then it was like trying to figure out what the monster was, what it like represented. And, for both of us, I think it can mean whatever you want it to mean, but it was about cruelty and like in the sense of like animal cruelty and also the beauty standards of like, traditional beauty standards and what you're supposed to be like and what you're supposed to, buy into literally.
Right.
So that's what we started with. And then, we just started like writing things down, and then our friend Andrea Walter, she's also a screenwriter and a director, she came in and she wrote a script, and then we both like adjusted it, so it went through like a lot of changes. And then eventually after like draft 6 or whatever, we were like, well, we don't really have that much time, like we just have to run with this script and go with it and start pre-production because things were happening very quickly. And so we started to, kind of like think of locations. We walked into Atomic Style Lounge in downtown Las Vegas, and it was like perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I haven't been there. I haven't been there since
What's
a
a
meeting.
salon,
Yeah.
right? Salon?
It's a salon. Yeah, they do
Yeah.
like
It's fully operational. It's a real.
totally fully
Okay.
operational.
But it's 50s style, right?
Yeah, it's 50s style salon.
See,
Retro.
and that's so key is using a
Yeah.
location
Mhm.
that you. I don't know if you guys have to do much to it, but like, because when I watch it as a fan or as like a viewer, like
Yeah.
I'm looking, they built this whole set. Like that's what I think of. Like you guys built this
Yeah.
whole set specifically, but that already existed. So
Yeah.
using locations that you have access to that
Yeah.
can work exactly with what you're doing is
Yeah, that's key. I mean, that's like key to not spending as much money. And that's also key to like, not spending as much time. It was like we only put a few things in the shop, like the all the beauty products and all of the like advertisement and stuff like that, which our graphic designer mate, Brooke Aratis, she's Heather's sister, actually. So she created like the labels and all the stuff, and that was the only thing really that changed. We moved a bunch of stuff out of the salon so that we could like make space for everybody. But it looks just like that.
dang.
Yeah.
What would you say
So
was the
dope.
most challenging part that you did not see coming about putting that together?
The film or
Yeah.
the set?
The film itself.
It actually wasn't challenging, to be honest with you. It was like very fun. Like that's the whole thing about us. And
See,
the
I would
whole
be
thing.
like, I gotta make labels. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's how lazy
we have
we
so
are.
many excuses.
Well, no, I think the key is to like realize that like obviously you can't make a film on your own. Like
Yeah.
you can't. Like there's so much involved. Like you said, there's music, there's like costumes, there's characters, there's dialogue, there's like camera, and there's so much stuff. Like you can't be like, I'm gonna do it all. I think it's really honestly it's your team, and you have to like give them the responsibility and the ropes and just be like, hey, I have this concept. It's 1950s. It's a beauty shop. Like
Yeah.
do it. I don't know. And then they come to you and they're like, oh, what if, and they get inspired, and they're like,
Yeah.
what if we did this? And then they show you like their part, and then they're excited about it. So, and then they can, they can feel a part of it too. And they are. So you're not like directing, you're not doing everything. You're like, you're kind of giving everybody their little like piece and
Yeah.
then coming together and doing like an orchestra.
Yep.
Yeah.
How long would you say it took you guys to put it all together from, or maybe just even shooting? Like, how long did it take you guys to shoot everything?
It took us, we shot in that salon one day, which was a very quick day because it was like, we had a lot of actors. And so we did all of the stuff without everybody in the morning. And then we kind of invited everybody to come over like in the afternoon. So we shot that all in like a full like normal day, which is like a 12-hour day. And then the second shoot was at Quantum Arc Studios, and that was all of the monster stuff and the cage stuff, and that was one day. So we shot it all
So
in 2
that
days.
wasn't actually a basement in that
wait.
place.
No, that's a different location.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Learning so much.
Yeah, no, that was a completely different location. So there was Atomic Style Lounge, there was Quantum Arc, and then we went to Lake Mead. So we had 3 locations overall.
Lake Me was for like the ending scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So it's technically 3 days.
Dang, that ending threw me off, man. It left me feeling uneasy. Like I was like, that's not how I wanted it to end.
Yeah.
But it was also like I
I
like
like
it.
that though,
I
too.
like because I hate it when it's like a perfect ending. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everything goes right. Like
Yeah.
that just throws me off.
A lot of all of our stuff is dark, and it's like dark comedy. It's funny, but it's also like sad, and you're like, oh. So it is supposed to be like, supposed to be that way. Yeah.
Bittersweet.
It is bittersweet.
Because I don't want to give it. I don't want to give
Yeah,
it.
don't.
Give it away.
No, we
Well,
ain't
no,
spoiling,
because it's a
'cause somebody
spoiler,
might be
yeah.
like, "Oh, I want to
Spo-
watch this."
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let people watch
Yeah.
it because it's
Okay.
really good.
Let's do it. Yeah.
If it's out by the time or whenever it's out, you let me know and I'll put it in the description for this video because
Yeah.
this episode's gonna come out in a couple of days and I don't know if it's still gonna be out yet. So we'll wait on that. Do you know what camera you guys use for that film?
Yeah, we used we used the Red Gemini. We'd just gotten it.
Oh.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was Sean Gearing. He was our cinematographer, and he used the red. And what else did he use?
Was it multiple cameras?
No, it wasn't. We shot all of it on one camera, which is like time consuming because you're like moving around, and every setup has to be like with that one thing. But it's also good because you get to like focus in on like what's happening,
What about prep time? How long did you spend because you produced it, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I produced it and I was in it.
How long? I noticed that when I saw your name in the credits, I was like, no way. What?
Actor,
Yeah.
producer,
Yeah.
director.
Yeah, I mean,
No?
we
Okay.
we all wear a lot of hats, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and so I think like even Heather, she edited it, so she directed it and she edited it,
Oh, okay.
and so like we're all like definitely like we have 2 or 3 things that we're attacking at the same time. Oh, and she also pretty much did like costumes too, because but yeah,
That's
Yeah.
so many. That's so many talents
So many
and skills
hats.
in one. Like,
yeah,
like for me, it's like, I can shoot and edit. That's pretty much it. Like,
Yeah, but see,
camera
when I
wise,
start thinking other things, I'm like, oh, never mind. We're not doing this, Keem.
I can't even do audio. It's just video only. So how long would you say it took you like to prep all the prep time before you guys actually started shooting it? Like from concept to shooting, how long would you say it took?
concept to shoot probably like 6 months. I mean,
That's not
not like every day. It was just
Mhm.
like we would just randomly have phone calls and then just like random emails and we had like a casting process, so we sent out some casting calls and yeah,
do you
from
do
that
Do you do
to-
that Craigslist, or how do you do casting calls?
Well, I used to do it on Facebook, but I deleted my Facebook, so I don't know how I'm gonna do it now. But there is also Backstage, that like website, and that one's pretty cool.
Okay.
Actors always go on that, and also like the community is so small. Like we kind of already know like who we're gonna use,
Yeah.
and we're always like looking for some like new people for sure. But like I already almost like I'm like, oh, I already know this new person, so. We try to like work with different people and branch out. But it's such a small community. It's like if you can use the same like 20 people.
I want to act. Can you put me in something?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
What do you want to do?
Oh,
I don't know, but I
snap.
feel like I have such a unique look.
Yeah.
Nobody looks like me. I'm like, I could be like that guy, like, kind of like Huel in Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
That security guy.
I've never watched Breaking
You
Bad.
never.
Sorry,
what?
y'all.
This podcast is over.
Yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Have you watched the new El Camino?
I
Oops.
did. Yeah, I did.
How did you feel about it?
I loved it.
Uh-huh.
It was completely unnecessary, but I loved it.
See, look. Okay, so I thought that too.
Yeah.
Until I read what Vince Gilligan, like what he must be feeling like, because he felt
Mm-hmm.
that Mike got he got his ending.
Yeah.
You saw how his whole
You guys are
journey
talking about the
ended.
Breaking Bad movie, right?
Yeah, the Breaking Bad
Netflix.
movie, El Camino.
Just anybody.
Yeah, you
listening.
could just tune out for the next.
Spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
just-
Spoiler alert.
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna-
well, it's not. I won't say anything that happened in the movie, but like after seeing what Vince Gilligan had to say about it, like so he got his Walter White ending, he got his Mike Ehrmantraut ending, his Gus ending.
Yeah.
But what happened to Jesse? And that for years, like it always played his mind. What happened? Because you don't think about the fact that
Yeah.
he's on the run.
Yeah. But
You
like, yeah.
But that could also be part of the mystery. We don't know. You know.
Yeah. I loved it, and I thought that he did justice to like Jesse's
Right.
ending for sure. I thought it was like well done.
Yeah.
But I also am torn about it because it like solidified an ending for me, and
Yeah.
it was like I almost rather like have it just be like, oh, it's never gonna end in your
Yeah.
mind. But now I feel like everything's kind of like
Because you could ask questions about anything, like, well, what happened to Holly? How did she
Yeah.
grow up knowing that her father was a kingpin drug dealer? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
but yeah, 100%.
And like Jesse's, his story is kind of like you just assume like even now I assume that like he's gonna like something's gonna happen.
See, and
Jesse's
that's what
gonna
I'm
keep
hoping.
on going.
See, I'm so addicted to that show. I've admitted this multiple times. I watched Breaking Bad like 12, 13 times
Yeah.
now. It's just such an easy show to watch for
It
me.
is.
And like I feel like they could make another show.
Yeah.
Like of just Jesse living in Alaska, trying to get right, and then something happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Him getting himself mixed up into something he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But then it's like, because there's two sides to it, right? There's that culture of like, we should just let it end and remember it as it was. But then there's also like, kind of like we talking about Dragon Ball Z. They could have ended the Dragon Ball Z, back in the 90s. But there's such a big demand for it that the studio like kind of has to put more stuff out. Because otherwise, like, well, you're missing out on this opportunity. You
And
know what
his
I mean?
money too.
Money. There's money behind it.
I mean, like, yeah, there's definitely two sides to that. So it's like as a storyteller, like especially I'm sure like a lot of writers are like, no, like
Yeah.
stop it. The story's done.
You're gonna ruin a
but
good
like
thing.
as a producer, you're like, no, like people want this, and your job is to entertain and give
Right,
that like
right.
that experience to people. So like, why wouldn't you?
Right.
And I would watch El Camino 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing is people who, because there's people who don't even like Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
right? And those people who don't like the story, they don't like they just want kind of like that experience of Michael Bay-ness and all that stuff. Like they just want the visual animation and all that stuff. But you look at Breaking Bad and it's all about storytelling. It's about character building. It's about metaphors. It's about like kind of connecting things, right? So I mean, there's people who don't like Breaking Bad, and those people will never watch whatever else is coming out from it. But the people who are diehard, like I feel like whatever we get, like we're gonna love, as long as it's Vince Gilligan.
Yes.
I don't want anybody else touching it.
Agree. I
You know?
agree with that statement.
Me too.
Yeah, but we had mentioned getting back on topic here. We had mentioned that you take what's it called? Oh, hold on. Before we get there, actually, I want to talk about the fact that you submitted it to you submitted your short film, Razzle, right? Not
Yeah.
Razzle My Berries.
Razzle My Berries.
Razzle My Berries to film festivals.
Yeah.
What's that process like? Because we've never submitted anything like that. And like, is it? I'm sure that there's cost for money
Yeah.
for submitting it. There's like waiting times. There's rejection. There's approval. How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of really cool film festivals locally, like in Las Vegas. So there's the Las Vegas Film Festival, run by Wes McDowell and Milo, and Wes was my teacher, so we had a really good like relationship. So I'd always kind of like been like, I'm gonna send something your way one day. So he's been running that festival for a long time. So we submitted to that one, and then the Las Vegas Women's Film Festival as well, because the film was like predominantly, well, not really. I'd say it's half and half. It was made by women and men, but the voice is kind of female in some ways, I guess. And so
I feel like all the actors except for like the driver, like the cab driver, were most of the most important roles were females.
yes,
Right?
that when also Roberto Rad, which was like the he was the sort of transgender, if you will, in the thing, and so he's a male,
Okay.
but he played a female. And if you want, I don't know what his actual character identified with. I'm just assuming, but and then so we submitted it to that one, which is pretty easy. You go on Film Freeway. It's called filmfreeway.com, and you upload like a Vimeo or a link basically to your account. And you kind of pick like your category. So there's like, short films and short film blocks, or there's like documentary film blocks, or there's feature film blocks. So you just pick your category, you send it in, and then it'll tell you like in judgment or whatever it is. I don't know what it's called, but they're basically like when you're in the judging process, and then it'll tell you like, you've been selected or like you've been denied or whatever. And sometimes your film can be really good, but it's just like depending on like what what the film festival is screening. So like even if it's awesome, maybe it just doesn't fit like their voice as a film festival, you know? So yeah, it's really easy. You just Film Freeway, just submit stuff.
Oh, that's super
Yeah,
dope.
and it's like it ranges anywhere from like it could be $20 to like maybe the most expensive I think we've done was like $50 to submit them.
That's kind of crazy though, because when you think about it, there's so many festivals.
Yeah.
In the United States alone.
Yeah.
Not even counting the ones that are like overseas, but like if you're trying to submit to a whole bunch of them, it could cost you thousands of dollars.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's really expensive. Well, like everything in this industry is super expensive, but it's like once you get accepted, it's like we just got accepted into the New York City Horror Film Festival. And we're stoked that we got accepted, but we're also like, cool, well now we have to like go to New York, which is like,
Yeah.
Oh, you have to go there?
well, we don't have to, but like that's what we like.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know
That's
what
a
I
good
mean?
excuse.
Well,
I'm just saying, I thought you had to be there in
That's the
person.
thing though, is
Well,
it gets
it-
expensive too.
Yeah, and it's exposure, so you can go there and
You
you can
know?
be like, hey, yeah, I'm, whoever made Razzle My Berries, meet people, shake hands. Like that's how you like kind of grow,
Build that network.
build your, your body of work pretty much. And so we should go, but it's also like, oh man, that's a lot of like flights and hotels.
We'll
and
get them bookings now.
How many people do you have to go from the film to represent it? Can it just be one, or does it have to be like the whole crew?
No, it could just be one. It could just
Okay.
be one person. It could be whoever wants to go.
But it's a good excuse to go to New York.
Yeah.
Like, I
I'll
could go
go.
see my film.
I'll
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
I'll go with you guys.
I'll
Okay.
go for you.
just to see it.
And I'll say it's
I'll-
my film.
I'll send
I've never been to a film festival.
Really?
Yeah, not even the ones here in Vegas.
Dude, you have to come. I'm gonna invite you to the ones coming up. We have one in the Las Vegas Film Festival is in June, and then Las Vegas Horror Film Festival just happened. That was in.
Oh, that happened already?
Yeah, it just happened. Yeah, it was in October.
You're right. It's October.
I haven't been to a film festival.
Oh wait,
because
no, it
I'm
didn't happen in
trash.
October. It happened in September.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, next time.
One day when we're not being trash, bro.
Chuck and I have actually taken part in the 24-hour film project.
Oh,
But that
really?
was-
48-hour
the
film
48
fest,
hour?
though.
Ooh, what did I say?
24 hour
24 hours. That's
it-
in
crazy.
the 24-minute
felt-
film festival.
It felt like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Because
We
it
got
happens
zero
so
sleep.
fast.
Yeah, we just did one of those as well. We did. It was called Birdies.
What was your what was the genre and what was the word or the thing you had to do? You know how like you usually have the painting or rose or
Yeah. What was our genre was mystery, and our prop was a telephone.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I forgot what ours was.
Ours was a painting.
Oh, yeah.
And it was romance.
Yeah.
And I suck at romance.
First of all,
We had the worst actors.
we sucked. Hey, man. You're our friends.
Hey,
right?
Fernando did a great job.
You know what, though? Hey, I will say this, though.
Wow, what a team!
I will say this.
It
He
sucked.
moved out of here. Shit.
We
Love you,
were
Fernando.
so unprepared and unexperienced because we'd never done a film of any kind.
Yeah.
I mean, when looking back, it could have been a lot worse. Like, I've seen worse films than the one we put together, but I feel like we could do something so much better
Oh,
now.
yeah. We learned
knowing
so
what we
much,
know.
so that's the beauty of it.
The beauty of the 48-hour film festival really is to like know that it's gonna like be dumb.
Yeah.
Like, do not take it
Yeah.
seriously because you can't.
But no,
I mean,
but there's been companies or like people out here who form these like 30, 40 people crews,
yeah.
and I'm like, we had 4 people.
yeah.
Well, to be
Between the
honest
four
with
of
you,
us.
I always have had a better experience when my crew is smaller.
Mm-hmm.
I get the 30-40 crew thing, that's cool. But man, I can't like if I can't hear my people, like I don't know what's going on. It's too much, too much interference, too
Yeah.
many like things. So,
Multiple people filming multiple
Ooh,
locations.
going back to that, how many people like have you been on a production with? Like, had you produced for like hella people before?
Yeah, I mean it can range, but yeah, like I guess the most people I've been working with, I was working on Hell's Kitchen, yeah, season 19 and 20, and it was like, I think it was like a little under 500 people.
Whoa.
Wait,
But it was-
producer? Or
Assistant production manager.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
not
dang.
producer, Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one thing we were gonna get into because you also do TV, producing and kind of like production, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had an assistant production manager call me so many times.
Oh yeah, we
I was
talked
like,
about this.
My heart hurt.
We've talked
My
about
heart
this.
still hurts.
Were
when
they mean to you?
Yo,
Oh
Yeah.
tell the story, man.
it was Country Music
Let's hear it.
Channel.
I want to hear
This
it.
is back in the day. So like, I guess like from what my homie just told me, because he did like the last gig with these people, and he was like, yeah, this guy just moved up from being a PA to.
Oh God. Those are,
I think it's that position. It sounds like that position, but he was basically the manager of all the PAs, and
yeah,
he's
kind of something like that.
little
Yeah.
flamboyant, little like, like he's like a bitch. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to like he was just rude all the time. But he wanted me to get some food, and we you're on the clock when you need to get that food, or
Yeah.
the crew gets OT
For
immediately. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's go get something.
Sure. Yeah.
And he orders from this place where everything takes like an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like on a Friday, so it's super packed. So I go there. We had to walk there because it was at the Cosmo, and we were in the Mandarin, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I went downstairs, went to the place, and I was like, I went to go order the food,
Yeah.
and I look, and there's a line out the restaurant. Just
Yeah.
has a line just for its dine in.
Yeah.
So I try to cut everybody. I tell them like, yo, I'm in a rush right now, blah, blah, blah. Everybody lets me through. I talk to the guy. I'm like, hey, we put in an order. What's the time? And I explained everything to him, what we need. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's going to take like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I was like, what the fuck? And then he calls me and he's like, hey, we need the stuff sooner.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I'm
like
like-
freaking out on you.
Yeah, and he started calling
Yeah.
me, you fucking idiot, what are you doing? And then he'd hang up. And I'd be like, what the hell? And I called again, and then he'd be screaming at me again. And he didn't, because he was probably flustered too, which I
Yeah.
understand, but just don't call me stupid. Like,
Yeah.
just be like,
That sounds like a whole lot of like him not understanding. Well, like being in this business in Vegas is a lot different than being in it in other places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every state has their own like difficulties, but for Las Vegas, I will say that like the usual stuff like feeding people and transportation is a nightmare because like you have to be prepared to wait because you're in the city of like entertainment, and so like everyone's got a reservation.
So what's
like,
a tip though? Like, should you order just really early?
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, first of all, like on most sets, there's catering because you just it's cheaper, you know, and you don't want to ever fall into overtime because you're gonna fall into overtime for like anywhere from like 15 to hundreds of people. That's a lot of money that you just spent on just not feeding them on time.
Yeah.
So like you get catering, and if you don't have catering, and if you're like, oh, I didn't realize that my shoot was gonna be 5 days and now it is, and I only got catering for 3. Yeah, order in advance, order in the morning, and there's always like places that you know like are gonna be able to do it catering. I mean, Cafe Rio, always a lifesaver for me.
Cafe
That's
Rio.
funny
Shout
because
out
that's
to
the one I
Cafe
had to do
Rio.
for Las Vegas, like as a PA.
Oh,
They
yeah.
had me keep going there. I was like, oh, okay.
Shout out to Cafe Rio.
Sponsor us.
Sponsor my
Sponsor
shoots.
Coconut Meat.
Sponsor Coconutmeat. And like, yeah, just being ahead of the game. Like call in the morning, not an hour before. That's not enough time.
Really? You got to call that early in advance?
Yes.
So like for a 12 o'clock lunch, you call like at 8, 9 in the morning?
For a 12 o'clock lunch, I'll probably call like 4 hours in advance.
Whoa.
Because for one, it takes me like half an hour to get through everybody's very specific orders.
Right.
And then I call, probably on hold for a bit, blah, blah, blah. Got to go through all the orders, put in the credit card. Like everything takes time. And then once it's done, you know, then you send your PA, to go do it.
Me.
And at that point, you did the job. Your PA is not in charge of feeding people. That's a producer or a production manager job. The PA's job is literally just to go pick it up and come back.
Right.
So like that sounds a whole lot of like him just not knowing how to do his job. And also he was probably yelling at you on the phone because somebody was watching him, and so he doesn't want us to look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
But what you learn in this industry very quickly is that like when you're the boss, like everything is your fault.
Oh, yeah.
Not the PA's fault. You know, it's like you didn't do your job.
I feel like, because I've never even been like, I've been a PA, but I've never been like high up on that level.
Yeah.
I feel like I know to take responsibility for things, man.
Yeah.
Like even if it's something that nobody's getting paid, I always see things as my fault. Like for example, if I do a shoot and it's free and I'm asking a friend for help and they don't show up or they don't fall through, I don't get mad at them. I'm like, well, I should have known. Like this is a risk that I took.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I did get yelled at once for taking responsibility for something when I shouldn't, even though it was my fault, which is very interesting. And it kind of made sense after they explained it to me. But it's like, if you know that something isn't your fault and it's just like circumstantial, like don't ever take responsibility for it, because it's like you should be able to be like, it's literally not my fault.
Are you able to talk about what it was that you took the blame for? Or?
Yeah, it's funny now, but they probably don't think it's very funny. Sorry, guys. But so I was on a big show, and I won't say the name, but I was on a big show, and I was basically what happens on big shows is sometimes they like the people and the producers that are working on the shows, they like basically live on set. So like their laundry and stuff like that is through, it goes through production. It's production's job to like make sure their laundry's taken care of. Well, there was this, it was in Vegas, and there was this laundromat, and it had this name, and it was the same name that the producer told me that it was the same title, but for some reason what she said versus what the title was, like in her head, she was like, it's a something wash. And I was like, oh, it's a something wash. Google, found it, looked it up. I called them. I'm like, hey, are you guys doing laundry for so-and-so show? The lady said, yeah. So I was like, perfect, right? So I send the laundry over to these people. They give it back to me. None of it is sorted in the way that we gave it to them. So like every person has like their little baggie.
Yeah.
And so they like, and their name on it, and you would think like common sense, like duh, like why would you wash them all together?
Yeah.
Well, they washed everyone's clothes together. So I had this like meltdown because it came back and the PAs were like, like don't know anything. They're just like, it's fine, right? Here you go. And I was like, oh my God, like people's personal underwear are mixed with each other. like there's men's and women's, and like there's like executives like suit jackets, and like I was just like,
wow,
how am I gonna like do this? So I had to just fess up and be like, hey, I sent out this massive email and I was like, I'm so sorry, blah blah blah, this happened, you know, I will do my best to like help you sort it out, blah blah blah. I spent most of the day in there like helping people sort out their laundry and getting yelled at and bitched at the whole time, and I took it because I was like, this is my fault, you know. But realistically, it is and it's not, because the laundromat,
50-50.
it was labeled, like each and everything was labeled.
Yeah, because they come in bags, right? Yeah.
It was
Wow,
bags
that's so
separate with names on them. And I called and I said, are you doing laundry for so-and-so show? The woman said yes. I found out later that it was like her first day and she just said yes. She didn't know what I was talking about.
Oh, the
so
perfect
it's a
storm.
really bad situation where I'm just trusting this person, you know, and I'm just like, okay, great. Yeah. All right. Sending my PAs, blah, blah, blah. Send the they come back and I was like, no. But yeah, they told me, you know, not to apologize.
Yeah, because when I had to
something.
do that once, they had me go to the laundromat and do each one.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, you have to do it all. I was like, oh, damn.
Wait, they had you do it?
Yeah.
Weren't you just a PA?
Huh?
Weren't you just a PA?
Yeah, they had me go do the laundry
Dang.
Oh, wow.
for the whole tour bus. I was like, what the hell? All right.
Was that for the Las Vegas
I
one?
was just seen some gross stuff too. I was like, ew. I was like, this is nasty, yo. This is like,
No.
what is dirty jobs?
You're
I
never
was like,
getting hired ever again, son. Way to go.
hell no, I'm gonna own a production company. I'm not gonna let them do that to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go back to, because like, you know, just like, what are some tips you can give to like somebody who's like a upcoming producer, and like just like some things you should do and watch out for, just like, you know, ordering the food early.
Yeah.
Like, what are some
Yeah.
good tips that you've learned on the way?
I think one of the biggest tips is like understanding that your role, like you're gonna be put in a position of power. So like your demeanor on set is super important. So you have to stay calm and collected all the time because you're gonna freak people out.
Yeah.
I think that's like the most important. Even if something's going wrong, like being able to like register it, you know, and be like, okay, how can I fix this? Not just be like, ah, you know. That, and like, yeah, ordering food on time and just taking care of your people. Like, your people are not going to put in the work or want to work for you or talk good about you or, you know, offer you more opportunities if you don't like take care of your people.
Right.
So make sure that they're fed, make sure that they have water, make sure you're asking like how they are doing, how their day is, like, you know, treating them not just like workers, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's the thing
yeah.
too. Like people usually remember how you talk to them and how you treat them. You know, there's this saying that I heard that like, it doesn't matter how good your work is. If you're an asshole on set or if you're a kind of person that people don't want to be around, you probably won't get invited back.
Yeah, people,
You know?
surprisingly, like people remember how you made them feel.
Right.
So like when you make somebody feel good, like they want to come back around you. It's like nature. But if they didn't feel good around you, like they're not going to come back. So,
Right.
and sometimes you might not want them to. So whatever. But
You know, works out at the end of the day.
yeah.
So I want to talk about because I'm sure you've worked on all sorts of projects. You know, from the big budgets to the small budgets. What would you say is a common problem that you run into, whether it's like from a low budget project to a project where everyone's getting paid? What do you think is something that you constantly see that is a problem or kind of like a bump in the road?
Bumps in the road. I mean, like I said before, it's a lot of the bumps in the road, especially in the early stages of filmmaking, are like personality traits. I always notice that, like, you know, people just have a hard time getting through like the basics because their personalities just don't match. So just like not taking things personally. But a common problem, I mean, just
That's kind of you kind of answered
it's
it when you
kinda-
said personalities, because that's not something that people will really think about.
yeah.
People will think about, oh well, you know,
The money,
Yeah.
like not getting a right budget.
but the
or-
personality is something that you can't buy. Like it's
Yeah.
not something that
Yeah, I
you
mean,
can put on your-
money. For I just like just don't even talk about the money thing because it is a problem.
yeah.
Like it's a problem all the time. Like, you know, it's
So number one cause of divorce.
Yeah,
It's true, money
it's not, and
problems.
it's not a problem. It's just like it's something that's so inevitable.
Yeah.
and you have to figure out how to get it in order to do life.
Right.
You know, so yeah, money is always going to be kind of difficult to source when it comes to creativity, but there are people out there that have money and are willing to play with it. You just have to like know the right people. And yeah, like there's people that are passionate about creativity and community, and they're willing to like put something into it to see what comes out of it.
I always say, you know, if you're getting paid to do something, even if you're not, if you agree to do something, you should always do it as if you were getting paid. Like, for example, like you should always treat the lowest person on the rank as the same as you would the highest person on, you know, on the totem pole.
I say you just treat, that should be like a human aspect thing. Just anybody in life, don't think you're better than them and don't think you're lower than them. We're all equal at the end of the day.
Yeah, and like there's always somebody above you. So just like being humbling.
Oh yeah, no. Like for example, like a lot of people don't treat the projects that they work on where it's like, oh, well, I'm only getting $100 for it, $200 for it, whatever it is. But it's like you agreed to do this. Yeah. Do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to those people, like either if your heart's in it, do it and do it 100%. It doesn't matter if you're getting paid, but you need to know and like create your own like rules. And if you don't want to do the job, don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it.
That's the people. That's the thing that people
are gonna notice that you don't want to be there. You know what I mean? So you might as well just do them the justice of not showing up.
Say no.
Say no in advance.
A lot of people feel like they have to take on gigs.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, I'm getting paid and I need to do, and this is my industry. I'm like, well, you don't have to take on every gig, if you don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think because sometimes I would take on gigs that I wasn't necessarily passionate about.
Yeah.
And that's something that I learned over my time as a freelancer. Is to kind of like, even if your heart's not in it, you have to be there for the project and for the people around you, because they might be excited about it. They might be super excited and, they want your 100%. And if you're not giving it to them, you're only bringing down the project. So why are you there,
Yeah, and I think you really like have to ask yourself why you don't want to be there, because I think like a lot of the time, that project or that person might be an asset to you, and you should probably say yes. Like more than likely you should say yes. Yeah. And it's not for the money, it's because you're like learning, especially if you're like coming into the industry. Like, why would you say no? There's like, you're pretty much getting invited to have like free education. People love when you ask questions. Well, kind of don't ask a lot of questions, but like people like to feel valued. So like asking questions. And then, like, at the end of the day, you just got paid to, like, work on something, like, super fun. Like, why would you say no,
Yeah. Unless it's a porn shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, we all got to pay our bills.
Yeah.
Hey, I've done it.
Hey, I work with a industry in, I guess you could call it in the adult entertainment industry. Yeah. Yeah, and me and my best friend, we work with them all the time, and we curate content for them.
And that's the thing is I have found, because I do a lot of photo shoots around town, and I've noticed that the professionalism on an adult film shoot is more professional than some of the stuff that's not adult films. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're like, for example, photo shoots, there's always like either a photographer, model harassment or something like that, or people don't watch the way they speak to each other.
Yeah.
The way you speak to somebody says a lot about you.
Yeah.
The types of jokes you're willing to make, or how comfortable can you make somebody feel, how uncomfortable can you make somebody feel. And I feel like in a porn shoot, like I don't know, I've always felt like it's,
you can't feel uncomfortable at a porn.
You can't feel.
You can.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's. You can't feel uncomfortable at a porn shoot. You know what I mean? So maybe that's why I felt like it's so much more
I think
professional.
at that point you're at like the furthest point of just being. Most of the people in there are probably like okay with their bodies. They're like they're past the point of just like. And
I will say this, like working with adult film stars, like there's some of the sweetest people in the industry.
Well, I've never been on a porn shoot. Just want to clarify that. But we work with cam girls, my free cams, and those girls are pretty much like they're in charge of their job and their aesthetic, and so we create like music videos and like promos for them.
Oh, nice.
So we're just like hang out with them and just surround ourselves with them. But 100% like the adult entertainment industry, like there's so many different colors and types and like sexual orientations that the community there is like awesome. It's like going to like a gay pride parade. It's like nobody's judged. It's like everybody's super nice.
Yeah.
Because I think like you said, like after you get to that point, like there's no boundaries anymore.
Yeah,
you know, like you're all the same. So it's cool. Like those people are awesome. AVNs, we go every year.
I want to talk about what's it called? You are also a live show producer, right? And you're working on a show with Roberto Road?
Roberto
What's
Rad.
a live show
Roberto
producer?
Rad, sorry.
Just like live?
It's
live
it's,
TV or
no,
live
it's
streaming?
like no, it's like live. Like I just meant like live entertainment. So like like the Vegas shows, like
Oh, wow.
yeah, like theater, I guess.
Damn, you do
How
that
did that
too.
come together? And what is that about?
That's new. So I just like sort of started doing that. Roberto Rad, he's an actor, and he had this concept, and he wanted to do like basically just like a variety show, you know, and he wanted to be the host, and so we were like, let's do it. We hit up Oddfellows, and the owner was super chill, and he was super nice, and he was like, yeah, let's try it, let's see what happens. So we created this like kind of timeline concept, you know, over like an hour and a half. We're gonna have these acts, and this was gonna happen. And we just went for it, and we got a really good response. Like people were cracking up, they loved it. We also showed short films in it, and
Like on a projector?
On a projector.
Nice.
So it was kind of like a mixture of all the things that we saw going on downtown, but like at once. So we just made it like into a show.
Right. So whenever I think of variety show, I think of we used to work at this company called David Sachs, and they have the ultimate variety show or whatever it's called. And there's a whole bunch of different acts, whether it's like the guy that turns and twists, and there's a magician, or there's a dancer. Is that what you mean by variety? That there's those kinds of acts, or is it kind of like just comedy, or is it acting?
No, yeah. So it's there's comedians. There is a pole dancer. She's like doing this like spider pole dancing thing since it's like Halloween themed.
Dang.
We have an improv group. We also have like I would say like more like immersive experiences. So like there's like things that happen to the audience like mid show. And then there's also like little moments and gaps in between where suddenly you're watching the projector and there's a little skit. So we film the skits. We have it's insane. It's like a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
And it happens so fast. You're just like, oh my god, that's a lot of information, because you're like, one moment you're watching a pole dance, and then the next moment you're like cracking up at a short film, and now like somebody's on stage naked and people are like running around, and then it's just crazy. It's like wild.
That's so dope.
And that's coming up on October 23rd?
Yeah, that is Wednesday, October 23rd.
And is that going to be like a monthly thing, or is that like a...
We're trying to do like a quarterly thing. So we're going to do, this one is for Halloween, and then our next one will be for February for Valentine's Day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And that's happening at CMXX?
Yeah, we moved it over to CMXX because we kind of outgrew our stage already.
Now, is that the one in downtown?
Because it's so small.
Is that the one in downtown, or the one at the Boulevard Mall? Because I heard they have a new location too now. Oh no, wait, you're right. That's what's it called? That's not CMXX. That's Junction Complex.
Yeah, I believe it's like run by the same people.
Yeah.
Taness.
Yeah,
Taness.
Yeah.
We've had him on. He's a dope dude.
Yeah. So, but it's at CMXX downtown Las Vegas is where that show will be.
Okay. Nice. So you do a whole bunch of different things. So like you not only are you involved with like music videos, but you do short films. You're doing live shows. What do you say is what you want to do? Is there a one thing that you want to do, and why, or is it kind of like you just like doing everything?
Yeah,
How do you see it?
People ask me that question all the time, and it's hard to answer. But basically, I think like my passion is really just to like see things happen and see things come to life. So, in whatever capacity that is, whether it's like a photo shoot or a film or a film set or a live show, I love seeing something come from like concept to like creation. It's like manifestation, but in creative work. So I just I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'll be doing in the future.
Probably bigger projects, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that I want Coconutmeat Films to be like a thing. I want us to like actually make like feature films and be able to show it to a lot of people.
I want to have a T-shirt that just says that.
We have
Films.
them.
I want a T-shirt.
Yeah,
Like
we
I want
have
to. I want to have one that with that
Coconut
little
meat
pink-
is just so tight.
Yeah.
It just sounds so good.
It just
like,
sounds
how
like
did,
it makes good indie films.
we still
too.
don't, we still don't talk about how you guys came up with the name.
So I was thinking about that, and I was like, they're definitely going to ask that. And you're going to have to invite Heather to explain that one to you.
Okay.
She has to come. She has to come on stage.
Okay.
She's probably going to bring her dog, but
That's fine.
That's a no-go for me. I'm just kidding.
Damn.
I'm allergic to dogs.
He hates
but-
dogs.
I'm
But
just
she
kidding,
has
yeah,
a
bro.
story because I didn't know either. And for a while she was just like, "Isn't it a cool name?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is cool." And like I just never questioned it
Yeah.
because that's just like how our relationship is. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, it's funny, hot, okay, cool."
I
I'm the
just
same way with Keem.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, Keem.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, tight. And then
I just picture like a cute little cartoon character.
oh
Yeah, like a coconut made out of
interesting.
meat or something. Kind of like that. What's the name of that game? The indie game?
Fruit Ninja.
No, it was on Netflix. It was a documentary about indie games. Super Meat Boy or something like
Oh,
that.
Super Meat Boy. Yeah.
Super Meat Boy.
What the?
That's what it is. You've never seen that?
No.
Okay, there's a little video game character
That's
called
hard as fuck.
Super
but yeah.
Meat. Yeah, yeah.
Super Meat Boy.
It's kind of
He's
is
pretty
it
cute.
kind of like Super Mario, like the concept of it?
Yeah, it's like it's a 2D platform.
Well, in the beginning of all of our films, like there's this little like voice that's like coconut meat,
There you go.
and,
it's already
and so
there.
it's kind of like yeah.
Who did that?
That was Heather. She did that. She was very bored, I'm
Of
sure, in
course.
the middle of the night,
There's
and
the
she was
character right
coconut
here.
meat. Oh, he looks familiar.
Ooh.
He looks familiar.
You know that game.
Yeah.
That game got huge.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it until the documentary came out.
And like, just to end it, I guess is just like you do directing as well, right?
We didn't talk about the music
Yeah.
video she did for Zelly.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I love that video. I was like,
Yeah. First of all, let me just say that's how I found out about you because I've known Zelly since high school,
Oh,
and
cool.
we did a photo shoot recently. But
she was on the podcast as well.
Yeah, she was on the podcast as well. Last year. It actually was a year ago.
Yeah, bro.
Not today, but this month
Mhm.
Wow.
because it was October. But yeah, we saw the video for her song. Was it a
Submarine.
Heavy Submarine.
Heavy Submarine,
Mm.
and then we saw the Spanish version of it, right?
Mhm.
And that's did you direct and produce or just produce?
I directed it. I directed and produced it. Yeah, it was for the Las Vegas Film Festival. They have a music video block every year, so they pick 5 directors to direct something. They just kind of like pick them, and then they marry them to like a musical artist.
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah, but I actually found Zelly myself. I was like, you know what? I want to dig deeper and I want to find somebody like completely different because it's like the same people in Vegas as far as like music is concerned. I couldn't find anybody that I was like, I've seen their stuff. Like
I saw these rappers.
I've seen them already. Like
Damn.
so I was digging and I found Zelly and I liked her style. So I hit her up. I think it was like on Instagram, and I was like, let's make a music video. And it was a week before like the deadline to decide. And so I was like,
Whoa.
if I don't decide, I'm just gonna
Wait, it was a
drop
week.
out.
You picked her a week before it was due.
Not before the music video was due,
Oh,
but
okay.
a week before like I was assigned to like decide.
So
Like-
did they reach out to you to do this video, or was it?
Yeah, they reached out.
How
to
does
me.
one get like picked to be part of this, or is it just kind of like you put your name on a website and hope that they pick you? Or
No, you have to like direct other things and then like kind
Oh.
of show that you're like.
so if you're like us and we haven't directed anything big,
So shit out of luck for you, bro.
No,
that sucks.
No, you.
I
can
guess
do it.
we'll have to make that short film
Yeah,
one day.
One day. We got a producer now, so
No, they just kind of like they're like, oh, is she working and doing stuff, and then they choose like from there, and they choose like such a variety of people, like people who are like just starting, and then people who are like more experienced, just to see what comes out because you just
Yeah.
never know,
Yeah.
so when
Well,
you
it came out
direct,
dope.
are you yelling at people?
Ooh,
No.
are you a yeller?
No.
You're just like, okay, I want you to do this. Like,
Are you,
no, like
are you,
for
a,
us, how do
are you a
direct?
passive aggressive?
No, I'm passive aggressive in real life, but I'm not passive. but
I'd
I'm
rather have somebody who yells at me than somebody be passive aggressive. Because I'm like, I don't know if you're serious right now.
No, I mean, on like honestly, like not to brag about my people, but on my
Yeah.
like, there's no reason to yell. Like, there's nothing to yell about. Like everything's
I meant more
already
just,
done.
like-
So
Yeah.
I'm like perfect.
You guys had an
Everything's,
awesome
like,
location. Like everything just looks so good in that video.
Yeah, that was Carniceria Guadalajara
yeah.
off of Craig, and we just walked in there one day and we're like, hey, this would be such a cool like spot for our music video. And the lady was like, yeah, sure. I was like, okay.
Well, you just walked in and asked, and she said it's cool.
Yeah. I know. See, you
that
never
almost
know.
never
You just
happens.
ask. You just ask. You gotta ask.
Yeah.
You never know.
Every time I ask, they're like, no. Oh man, I'm gonna have you start asking for me because they're like,
because they see you walking in with a T2i and a kit lens.
get that shitty ass camera out of here.
Get your swap me camera, Craigslist renting camera ass out of here.
No. They didn't even know. They didn't see my camera, my gear, my work, or anything. I was just like,
They probably thought you were gonna come in with like an iPhone. Oh, it's for a school project.
yeah. They were so impressed when I came in with like a crew of like 15. They were like, whoa, this
They're
is
like, can
like
you do a commercial
big
for
deal."
us too?
Yeah, 100% actually.
That's
See,
so
and something
tight.
like that could land to potential work one day.
Yeah.
Where So what about the crew for the video? Did you handpick everybody that was on set, or was that picked for you?
No, they only pick the director, and then the director picks who they're working with. So I picked Tate McCurdy. He's a cinematographer.
Yeah, he's dope.
He is dope.
So one thing, another thing too is like, do you storyboard it out, or do you let Tate kind of do the filming, or how does that work?
I mean, I like most of the time I feel like the director like has a little bit of an idea beforehand. So how I do it is I create like a vision board. So I'll just get on like Google Docs or whatever, and I'll kind of source like different shots from like other movies or like other music videos and like different colors, and then so I'll write like my notes like, this one is not the same shot, but I do like the costuming in it, and like this one like I stole, basically ripped off of Gwen Stefani's Luxurious when she's like laying in candy.
Yeah, because I was gonna say the candy part is tight. Do you do anything off top though? You're like, oh, this would be cool. Do you do that a lot or not really?
Like on set?
Yeah.
No, everything's already kind of been talked about.
Oh, that's cool.
So like we'll walk through the set like before. I mean, every director has their own like way of doing it, but like I walked through the set before everybody got there, like blocked it out, blocked out the day. I was like, we're gonna start here, we're gonna move here. These are the lenses we're gonna do in this room, and these are the lenses we're gonna do in this room. And then like he'll have a conversation with me and be like, oh, are you sure you didn't want to do it from like this way, because her eye line's gonna match better if she's looking this way, and if you want to cut to that. And so he kind of gives me his input, expertise in like the camera, and then I'll just tell him like, I want it to feel warm, and I want it to look like kind of yellow and be like soft red
certain mood, and he'll
tones.
know.
Yeah, and then he'll just magic.
That's so dope. That's so
Movie
tight.
magic.
Yeah, that's. I hope to have a video like that one day.
And one last question,
well.
because I always forget, y'all. So what does a director of photography do? Is he just how the whole scene looks and the lights and everything? What did they
That's how
do?
you know Chuck's never done anything before.
What's a DP? What's a director of photography
No, these are
do?
great questions. Like I honestly feel like a lot of people don't
He's
know
a
this stuff.
cinematographer,
Like,
right? That's what it is.
Yeah, director of photography is the same as the cinematographer.
Right.
It's just like the verbiage is.
But sometimes they don't touch the camera, right?
Sometimes they don't. No, sometimes they have like their operators do it, and then sometimes they do. Like, basically, the director of photography is like the director of light. So sometimes they just kind of decide what it's gonna look like, and they'll like map it out basically. And then if you have the budget, of course, like you give that to like the gaffer, and then the gaffer has like their electricians, and then like their grips, and like their grip and electric. So it could be anywhere from like one person doing everything to like 50.
Right.
Depending on like
How big the production
Yeah.
is.
Because I've known like a director of photography to be not only the lighting but the framing, and what's it called, the actual lens that goes on the camera.
Yeah.
Because different lenses do different things to the image.
Yeah.
And you want to also, the director of photography communicates with the director on what they want. Because the director of photography, at the end of the day, still works for the director. It's the director's
the
vision.
director's final image is
Director.
Directo.
the recto.
The director's final thoughts and everything is like what matters. I was just wondering because I was always like, what is it? Because I've seen DPs not touch the camera. I was like,
I'll tell you what, right now, we are neither.
no, we are nothing. We're not even cinematographers.
No, this is actually beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, like
I actually had a buddy of mine who...
I was like legit like impressed. I was like, this is a
You like our
nice,
flag?
soft
You like our
light.
flag?
That's
You like
our
our
flag
tinfoil
off the
flag?
Tinfoil flag. Hey, I
Stays
used
there
it too.
forever.
I don't know if you know George Orozco. He does a lot of music videos.
I don't.
He's done a lot of videos for like
He's done a lot,
Hobson
yeah.
and for
He's done stuff for like the game.
He's done some pretty big stuff. But anyways, he's out in California. We've never met, but we've been like internet. We've been following each other for a while. And I showed him the podcast setup. He's like, I need to raise that light up higher. And I'm like, bro, it's a podcast. You can chill.
No, but some people get really crazy. Like you watch all these YouTubers and like their lighting is like serious.
I'm like,
oh yeah. I mean, it looks pretty good. Like our main goal for the podcast was to have it kind of like light us while independently of the background.
Yeah.
You know, like we can change your background color, which we actually forgot to do, but that's fine. It looks good.
what colors did you want? If you did
we,
get to choose,
we gotta change the colors now.
We'll go out with a bang. Well, I can't do it because
you don't have the lights.
Yeah.
I got you.
What lights do you? What
the
color
Philip
am I?
Hughes. You're pink. I'm damn. That's how you know I'm stupid. Purple and turquoise, I guess. Green.
We had green and purple.
You can do what?
Let's do coconut meat. So let's do
Ooh.
Blue.
or like maybe.
And then
You should show her this monitor. So
Maybe
she
like
can see.
more.
I don't want to break it.
Oh, okay.
And what's the other one?
We have a janky monitor.
Definitely pink, but the blue. Let me see.
Ooh, that's
the
a
pink.
good-
Let's do pink. Yeah.
Pink all the way.
Let's do pink all the way.
That other light's not as strong, dude. The other
Dude,
Philip Hughes.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. You like that?
That's all pink though.
Oh.
Didn't
I
you want all
changed.
pink? No.
No, blue and pink,
Let's
right?
do blue and pink. Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh. Yeah.
We have to be careful with this monitor because it's super janky.
Yeah,
We've had it for
we don't
like
use
3
it for
years now.
anything.
We've never used it for 3 years, and the minute we want to use it on the podcast, it's like super.
Oh.
What? It went out?
It
It
died.
went out. Oh,
Oh, that's fine.
Great
We
job,
don't need it.
Leslie.
I broke it.
Because you want your damn colors changed. It's all good. You got it.
I think we pretty much hit our 1 hour
we definitely
mark.
did.
We appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk
Yeah,
to us
absolutely.
and
Thank you.
give
for
us your
having me.
thoughts on the film industry and what you've done.
Yeah.
We learned a lot. I know Chuck for sure did because he didn't know anything coming into this.
I don't know anything.
Or we're gonna go ahead and put all your information in the description down below for
Thanks.
everybody who's listening or watching. You have any last words you want to kind of like leave off with, or?
I just want to say thanks for taking the time to talk to people
Of
locally
course.
about this kind of stuff. I feel like there's not enough information out there on this kind of stuff, so it's cool.
See
Thanks
how
for
much
doing
I
it.
learned. So,
Yeah, we want to expose because there's so much stuff that we don't know, and we've been doing because
Yeah.
I've done music videos.
we're the morning dinner later.
I've done weddings. I've done quinceañeras. I've done adult films. I've done so many things. He can't outro this legally.
I feel like I'm at an interview right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Good bag.
yeah.
But there's
Good cop,
things that
bad
I
cop.
still constantly learn from the guests that we have on. So that's our goal with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Thank you again.
yeah, we're gonna put all your information down in the description down below.
Thanks,
Everybody
guys.
who's tuning in, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next morning dinner.
On the next coconut meat.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen. In the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.
That wraps up episode number 80 with Leslie Gomez. I don't know why I screamed that. That was a dope episode, man.
That was really good.
Yeah, but
learned
don't.
a lot.
Oh shoot! You know what I forgot to tell people at the beginning? Don't forget to
Like, subscribe. Dog, stop hitting the damn thing.
Sorry,
Like,
man.
subscribe, and leave a comment for us because we
You know
love
what?
all them things.
leave a comment if you liked that new Joker movie.
Ooh.
Oh, there's a little bit of controversy for you. And if you don't, hit that like button 3 times.
Yeah.
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 But thank you guys for tuning in and making your way all the way to the end of this episode. There's probably like 0.05% of you guys that make it all the way through the end. Or maybe you're doing laundry. Maybe you're kind of just chilling on a Sunday afternoon or a Monday afternoon. And you're just like, doing your thing at home. And you got the podcast running in the background. And you like the sound of my voice. You like the
Or
sound
my voice.
and you like the
But
way
I
that
barely
we
speak.
that we talk to each other. Maybe I do that with Theo Von's podcast sometimes. He just gets down.
Bro.
He just gets down and dirty, man. That's why I like Theo Von's podcast, bro. That's what I was trying to say the whole time. No, I like how he kind of just like talk. It's just him talking to the camera, and he'd be like, "Yeah, man, I just been feeling super ungrateful lately." But thank y'all for tuning in. Shout out to Theo Von. We'll get him on the podcast one day. Him and Bobby Lee and everybody on JK. Shout out JK Films.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. That was a long outro, guys. Woo-hoo. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next Money Dinner.
He said, hoo-hoo.
All right, it's not that. All right. Peace.
Love you, dog.